Cheers Vinyl community, what's going on? It's LJ, and it's VCLT time. Not just any kind of VCLT, over the top VCLT. VCLT packed with personal attention. VCLT packed with commitment. VCLT packed with echoes of friendship. VCLT packed with everything that makes the vinyl community what the vinyl community is. Now, how many of you know Ottavio? Or maybe you know him by his YouTube name, Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy. The timing of this video is highly coincidental. Because, you see, let me tell you a story. Ottavio, Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy, and I probably started making videos right around the same time. It was probably, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, something around there, where Rob from Boston, we all know who he is, Phoenix 1960, pointed out, he sent me a PM and he said, hey, there's a guy in Canada, his name is Ottavio, and he just did a video on Kiss Alive, or some kind of Kiss record, you have to check it out. Rob knows I'm a big Kiss fan. So I went and checked out Ottavio's video, and it's been a big old bromance ever since. Now, why is that coincidental? Well, because Rob from Boston just had a birthday yesterday or Wednesday, I'm sorry, 1 or 2 days ago. It was on the same day that this box arrived. Now, why did I already go ahead and open this? And the answer is because Ottavio, Guess I'm Just a Spud Boy, link below, had made a video. Ottavio makes a lot of great videos about just killer classic 70s music, jazz, rock, great taste, lots of great informative equipment videos too, just a walking fountain of knowledge on everything from speaker stands to cartridges to styluses, needles, and equipment. So a lot of the people that will PM me and ask me equipment questions because of those videos that I've made, make sure you check out Ottavio's channel. Some of your questions might get answered right there. Here, there, and everywhere. So, Ottavio made a video. He showed Triumph, the band Triumph, their debut record. And I watch every video Ottavio makes, or try to, and left him a comment. Said, killer find. I've been looking for that one forever. He mentioned, because it had only been released in Canada. So he mentioned that he could easily find another copy and we could get a trade going. Like any other international location, Canada to US, so on, it can get a little pricey. But I digress. He said, yeah, let's get something going. I was shocked when 5 days later, or what seemed like 30 seconds because work's been killing me, this showed up at the door. Immediately, this was from Ottavio. I have to point out the stamps. Look at the Rush stamps, 2112, the symbol with the star. And if that wasn't enough to know it was Ottavio, here's the Toronto Maple Leafs stamps. So the personal commitment and attention just started right there. And it continued inside, where here's the stamp booklets for the Maple Leafs and the Rush. That was the coolest thing. At that point, I was already blown away. I didn't think much of opening it not live for two reasons. One, I knew what was in it. It was Triumph, and I couldn't wait to listen to it. And two, work had its way with me this week, and I knew I couldn't let this sit for 3 or 4 days and not open it, then open it live and gush over it. It was getting cracked open. Forgive me. So I was blown away already just by the stamps. I hope you can see those. Those are the coolest things in the world. Ottavio and I, both massive Rush geeks. And Ottavio, of course, being from the land of maple syrup, a massive Maple Leafs fan. So, I mean, just immediately right there, that was fantastic. But let's get into some vinyl. Now, what was inside is some pamphlets and brochures from Metalworks, the Institute of Sound and Music Production, which is right in Mississauga, Ontario, which is Ottavio's area, and also the area which Triumph hails from. Now, Gil Moore from Triumph opened and runs Metalworks. They have all sorts of courses and classes in music production and what it takes to be a rock star, instrument playing, production, DVD authoring, you name it. They have a list of high-profile clients. So some very cool artwork there, and I asked myself, why is this in there? Did he go down to Metalworks? I'm not sure exactly how far it is from his house, but it's close. And then I pulled out Triumph's first record. Here it is. Now let me tell you something. Triumph's first record, which is playing in the background, is a nightmare to find on vinyl in the US because it was released on Attic Records and only in Canada, as far as I know. Here's the Attic label. And as far as I know, it was never released on vinyl in the US. It was released on CD way later under the title In the Beginning. So, seeing that in there, it's like, oh, he must have swung by, grabbed some of the paraphernalia. Triumph the band, Metalworks are very well connected, so slip them in there. That's very cool. He's a geek about that, just like I am. And then I turned it over and damn near lost my breath when I realized he had it autographed. What I still didn't see or realize at the time is that it was autographed to LJ. So here's Gil Moore from Triumph back in '76. To LJ, all the best. Gil Moore. Here's Rick Emmett, the lead singer, Mr. Smiles. Rick Emmett, cheers LJ. And here's Mike Levine. Hi LJ, Mike Levine. I was just, at that point I was speechless. Absolutely speechless. So Triumph, if you don't know, they're known as Canada's other Rush, which really isn't fair, to be completely honest, because Triumph stands on their own as a three-piece Canadian hard rockin' band. They're just fantastic. They just had the distinction of coming a couple of years after Rush, also being from Canada, and also being a three-piece. So, of course, you're going to be Canada's other three-piece or Canada's other Rush. And for that matter, so is Saga. They're just all great bands, and Canada has produced some of 70's best hard rock acts. The period of time I've been on the hunt for this album is just not even worth talking about because it's been years, and it's just impossible to find in the wild in the US. And if you can find it, it's on Discogs or something. It can be spotty and dashy, and maybe it's in the US, maybe it's not. Just really difficult to find in the classical sense of finding it in a record store. That blew me away. And then the autographs just slayed me. And I told him it was their first two records that I was having a hard time finding. So here is the second record, Rock and Roll Machine, also fully autographed to LJ from the band, also on Attic Records. This was released by RCA in the US, but as a different version, which by MCA, I'm sorry, and I think RCA as well. I have that on cassette. So here's Rock and Roll Machine on cassette. And besides the cover differences, Rock and Roll Machine on cassette has a completely different set list. It has some songs from the second album, but also some songs from the first album, so it omits quite a bit from the second album. So it's neat to have and to hang on to as a collector's piece, but here is the proper second release from Triumph, Rock and Roll Machine, also on Attic Records, and that's the one that I just showed you because the debut is spinning in the background, and also 100% autographed to LJ. Now, I'm well beyond blown away. Well beyond blown away, just staring in awe at what I'm holding. Not only are they finally in my hands, but they're from Ottavio, they're personalized, and it got better from there. The Rush stamps and the maple leaves, and they're in custom sleeves from Peter Dunn's Vinyl Museum, which is right in Toronto. So they have their own custom sleeves. I re-sleeved them with my sleeves, but there's the inner sleeve from Peter Dunn's. So I instantly start pulling out the rest of my Triumph vinyl. Here's Triumph Just a Game, and you might recognize some of these. This was issued twice. This is actually on Attic Records as well. This is the gatefold, but it's a US press on RCA, released under contract or in agreement with Attic Records. And that's the gatefold version of that. Here's the later MCA reissue of that, the Super Saver series, non-gatefold. Here is Surveillance from Triumph. And if you have any of these or see any of these, pick them up. Here's the biggest one, I think, of the bunch, commercially wise. This is Allied Forces. Here is Never Surrender, another excellent Triumph album. This is 1983. I was going to say 4. I believe the next one is 84. Yep, this is Thunder 7. This is huge. I remember talking to VK Vance over in the VK Lounge. I believe he saw them on that tour, which is then when the live album Stages came out. So again, if you see Triumph in the wild and you like hard rock music, forget everything you've heard about being Canada's other Rush and grab it, because it's just hard rock awesomeness. Now, having a couple of days to digest them, get through the week at work, and then spin them, and then get ready to shoot this video, I took the box and I wanted to be able to show it. Now, I would never do it, and nobody should ever do it without taking the address label off. And let's not broadcast each other's addresses. And most of us are really good about that. So I went to cut the label off, and I started seeing print underneath the paper that had been used as the label. And intrigued, I got a little more cautious in my removal and taking it off. So the address label, which is here in front of me, turned out to have something on the back of it, and a piece of it caught my eye. reading this further along, this was the note that Ottavio had written to the band in order to help get the records autographed for me. And that was, I mean, so I've had it for 2 days and I've absorbed all that, the records, the autographs, and I've wondered, how on earth did he get the full band to autograph the records? Because as far as I know, they don't have the best relationship in the world, and it would make sense theoretically for Ottavio to find Gil Moore at Metalworks because he owns it, and even that's a shot. But to find Rick Emmett and Mike Levine there as well, and again, not sure what their relationship is at this point with Gil, but to find all three there would just be unreal. So here is a note that Ottavio wrote to Gil, asking him not only for his autograph, but to help coordinate autographs from Rick and Mike as well. So all the way around, from Ottavio saying, yes, I can get you a copy of this, to just taking it to an unparalleled degree, to get and coordinate the autographs, to the packaging with the stamps. I'm speechless. I'm speechless. Link to Ottavio's channel below. Definitely check him out. Ottavio, I don't even think you realize just the 2 grails that you put into my collection. The pieces from the note on the back of the address label, and I would say I don't know if he knew he used that as the address label, but Ottavio knows he used that as the address label. No question about it. I don't think he knew if I'd find it or not, but I think somewhere inside his mind he knew I would. Just unbelievable pieces, all permanently going to be part of the music room. I'll cut the stamps out and put them somewhere in here. It's just an unbelievable over-the-top package. And Ottavio, I thank you, my brother. Take care, VC, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao.